Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Worldology, and today's video is going to be a different video. Today I'm going to talk about the definition of Battlefield and what it takes to make Battlefield 6 act like its previous counterparts, Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. And Hardline, of course, obviously, because it is an extension of Battlefield 4, right? So the thing is, first, I'm gonna get to the main point of what this video is, right? So this video is going to be about how every single aspect of Battlefield mattered in Battlefield 3 through 4. So I'm going to talk about how you are able to use the maps to your benefit, have good flow of the maps, good gunplay balancing, and everything that Battlefield was, what the core Battlefield veterans wanted. So I do advocate for, the veterans of BF3 and BF4 because we are in the modern terms, right? And the BF4 obviously was my first battlefield. Hardline was the main battlefield to grab the attention, and BF Battlefield was Battlefield Hardline was the last battlefield to be able to actually capture the last remaining of Battlefield 4 in its current gunplay and map choice scenario. Not necessarily, the cops and robbers, right? So let's get into the video. So the first aspect is, we're just going to talk about the maps because they are the main thing that's wrong with Battlefield 6, and I'm gonna get to the point right now. So how the maps were mainly designed was that there was mainly a point C, let's just say C, a C base, and then we have either another C base, or we only have one C base, and we have the outside bases, right? So why do we need a main base or two main bases, and then the outside bases are the ones to be able to actually be, desperate enough to capture? All right. So the point is to make the flow very, very well for the game in this map, right? So say we will actually need to have one person, one team, take the whole base. And what does that mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that they won the game because they have the main base. It means that they can give more of a benefit to the other spawn points and other capture flags, depending on how, how big the C point is, right? And actually how can I put it? How big the C point is, and how good the team is, right? I'm gonna just say it like that. How good the team is, and how good the C point is, right? So if we have the C point, it will be easier to get the other outside points, and that means that it will need to be a definite amount of chaos to capture the C point, so we can actually have an actual, way to say, oh, okay, we have the C. So we need to get the other points because we have the main point to spawn on and have a bit of freeway. So now we see that in Eastwood, right? Eastwood, the new map that just came out, it has a C point, and the C point is the big, golf building, right? The bar lounge and whatnot. That is the main base, and if you need to capture that base, then that means that your team has not necessarily a big lead, but it has a bit of a lead way to the maps to the points on the outside on the map. So let's get into the more in depth, right? So they are compatible against each other, and they're little areas that are accessible through quick, sometimes aggressive force and slow cap. So, meaning that the outside points are going to be a bit of a challenge to capture, right? Because obviously, the the team who is able to get a stronger point, a stronger force push on the C point, is able to capture the outside points, right? Do y'all understand? And if we cannot get C, let's say my team cannot get C or the other team cannot get C, that means that we probably going to have to capture the outside points and try to get leadway. And that means that you can either win with the C point captured, or you can lose with the C point uncaptured but the other points uncaptured, meaning that you need to have an aggressive amount of force and a strategic option to say whether we do not need to select the base or we do need to select the base to be captured, right? And I hope you understand. I know I'm, going all over the place, right? But that's just how, I guess whatever Katie I am right now talks, right? So I'm going to get into the other aspects of how the maps should play in Battlefield. So we know that the visibility is very bad, and it's not necessarily a good thing. The thing is that the maps from previous battlefields that I'm gonna pull up, they all had dependability against each other's team. Meaning that if your team had a sector capped or something capped on a point of the map, it means that your team has that little area, and it forces the other team to play a different area on the map, but with a bit of a leeway to be able to say, oh, okay, we can actually capture this point. And you will understand what I mean when I go into detail, and I'm gonna pull up some things on the map anyway, right? So it's like, let me explain. Say if I capture, let's say, lockers, right? We're playing lockers. My team captures the first spawn point in the middle of the hallway. And all my locker players will know. If we are able to take that tunnel, that means we will have a lot of leeway. Why? Because we now have the middle. And what does that do for the enemy team? It forces the enemy team to push either two options. You need to actually flank, which is easily accessible because the spawn points in the game forces you to put that flanking into perspective for better flow, meaning that it's better predictability. So we will be able, so that my team who just captured the point will be able to understand that, oh, okay, that means that they're there. And I know it might seem like, why do we need to know that spawn point is there for the team? Okay, so the reason is because it doesn't necessarily count us as a guaranteed win. The map visibility and aura in the previous Battlefield franchises, Battlefield 3 through Battlefield Hardline, was very, very, very noticeable. We have Hardline, Chinatown, Grand Bazaar. We have Nightwoods, dark map as well. We have many dark maps, Night, Bank Job. And those are mainly from Hardline maps because Hardline maps were mainly in that dark seen because cops and robbers, right? You know, thieves rob in the night, cops capture the people in the night, and so forth and so on. So, what did those dark maps do in Battlefield Hardline? And there was Battlefield 4 night maps as well. We had Zavad. What did those maps do so well to make them capture dark maps so good? And we know that night maps are going to come in the future of Battlefield 6 because why? We seen and I seen and we are all going to see is that night vision is into the game now and is going to be able to select night vision and see what do we need night vision for? Night maps. So let's get it started. So the BF3 and Hardline maps had really good visibility and coherence to how good and thoughtful the maps were in respect to how Eastwood looks like. Meaning that the brightness, the vibrantness of Eastwood captured the vibrantness of the night maps, right? They had a lot of lighting from outside forces, like we say a store, from Grand Bazaar, Chinatown. Nightwoods, we had the moon, and it was a very bright moon because why? It was dark, and we had the moon to go against the other team's will if they had the night vision, or vice versa, right? So we had a lot of environmental lighting in Battlefield. And what did not Battlefield have in the previous titles? They did not have no type of environmental lighting. And if did, it was very hard to detect if the lighting was actually working in the game or if it was just a weird asset that did not turn on or didn't show it was actually a light in the first place. So a lot of the maps had a lot of thoughtful placements on how the lighting should be. Hangar 21 or rogue transmission inside of the little building with the nuclear object or the missile, we see that it's very dark inside. Not necessarily too dark where we can't see without the environmental lightings, but enough to be able to say, oh, I think I'm gonna need to go and see a little bit more lighting because probably somebody in the back is hiding where I can actually see my team or the enemy in a dark light. Because why? Because sometimes you do not need to see everybody in the night. You actually need the environmental lighting so we can detect if there are more people that we are looking at or only one person. So yes, that might sound pretty confusing, but let me put it into an explanation. So I see somebody in front of me and I Dorito them from like, let's say 30 meters. And I am chasing them and I only see them and then they go into a dark corridor. There's no environmental lighting for the first scenario. And let's say I don't hear him run. Maybe he's crouching, maybe he's proning, but then I hear a few more guys. And then I ask, where is it at? There's no lighting, so I potentially, let's say, go out into a different area where there is lighting. I perhaps die because I went into the lighting where the other team could not go into the lighting and they had a definite team that was inside a building that did not have lighting. So what does that mean in total? It means that, and it could have worked the vice versa as well, meaning that if I need light to see more enemies that I feel like could be in a spot where I specifically seen only one enemy or maybe two enemies, depending on how skilled you are in the game, then I might want to go into the aspect of maybe moving to a lighter area so I can see the enemies, right? So let's put it in another scenario on why it should be even for the night vision. The night vision. Let's say we're playing on Zavad. We have two buildings, you know, A, B, whatever point, and the two buildings on the middle. They both have lights in the building because why? They are buildings and they have electricity, right? So if I am outside or the enemy's outside, he has a greater chance of not killing me, but I have a greater chance of killing him. Why? Because he is looking inside of the building with night vision, meaning that the enemy needs to see if strategically say, oh, I can't use night vision. I need to push the point, and let's say there are 2 points. I need to push the point inside and actually capture the point, but no, I can't do it because I'm on the outside and I have night vision goggles. So what can I do? Meaning that he will need to turn off his night vision goggles to go inside, right? Because if he don't, he will die. And what does that mean? It means it gives another piece of even fair gameplay to how gadgets are supposed to be working for those type of scenarios. If I was outside, I would need to turn my gadget, my NVGs off to go inside and push the point. But what is the other guys? What is my advantage if I'm outside? It means that I'm darker to see, and he's also more of a visibility to be able to get killed from the inside. But since I need to turn my goggles off, let's say the other team have goggles and needs to go outside because they have 2 points, meaning I need to actually hurry up for flow of gameplay to push the point because they can freely use their goggles and I can't because I need to make a definite move to actually get into the point and hurry up and get some light and get into the building and get the point done, right? So it gives a bit of a fair gameplay and a flow to the gameplay to actually need people to push the point to their respective gadgets and their respective designs in the map. And for Zavad, let's say that I accidentally go into the light that's in the environmental light. That means that we're both at a very desperate situation. I either want to 1v1 or I just stay back and try to run into another dark area, right? So that's how environmental lighting should work, and many maps did that well. The night bank job had the helicopter to shine the light over the spawn to see the spawn because it was too dark. So it's just what it's supposed to be for night maps, and for even maps that's light and have dark corridors. They need environmental lighting so we can actually detect what's going on. Type 88 BF4, he would have died instantly from that spot. Yeah, I bought out the Type 88, and the Type 88 did a lot of damage to the target that we see on the screen. I position myself to be on the same exact spot, 39 meters, that I was in the stream, as well as in the test range in Battlefield 4. So, what happened is that when I full autoed with the LMG in the test range, I killed that target instantly. In Battlefield, I could not do anything to be able to get the kill that I deserve to have because of why? The horizontal recoil. The gun not being able to shoot straight or bloom straight and how intended, meaning that let's go over the quick definitions of the weapons. First, the ARs are the weapons that are medium to long range, right? But long range are burst fire. SMGs are high powered SMGs, right? But they have a lot of recoil, meaning that you need to have a definite amount of precision in close quarter combat to kill the people, like let's say a feed, right? 5 people. And if you make one mistake because of how fast the SMGs go by, then you are probably dead in that scenario. But you can be able to kill all of them by how the gun works, because you are able to kill at a faster rate. Then the LMG, you are able to fire as a quick burst of going all over the place, and then you go and shoot and shoot and shoot, and it gets straighter and straighter and straighter. And then with a sniper rifle, you need to have a definite base addition of math to be able to hit your target, right? So what does that mean? Is that with the Type 88, it shows how undeep the gameplay is from BF4 to BF, let's say, just BF4 to now. We did have a little bit of laser beam, but it showed that we need to have control over how our patterns work in the weapons we are using. We were using. It shows. Oh, should I get into this gunfight with an SMG player at short range, because I can't necessarily do nothing with the AR unless I get better positioning? So if the SMG player pushes me as an AR player, I'm perhapsly dead. If I try to push an LMG player from far away, then yes, I will die. The sniper, I will need to just hide, because obviously, sniping is a little bit harder on BF4, because you need to actually do a certain amount of calculations, or if you just have a target finder and you're cheating, right? You actually just equip that, and you're able to kill and do what you got to do, right? But it doesn't take that much to make the gunplay right. But what also made the gunplay feel better was the hertz in the game, the 60 to 90 hertz, and the optimization. But also, let me get it first cleared off. The high TTK wasn't as of a high TTK. It was a reminder on how many fights you should take at a given moment. And they're kind of doing it with Battlefield 6, as I said a lot in my video, or in my streams actually, is that they give the players a mercy rule. So what do I mean about a mercy rule? So in Battlefield 4, you know the close quarter gunfights. You are able to get a kill and survive off of maybe 25 HP. But they do not necessarily do it right in Battlefield 6 because they did not have a definite goal of the math that they wanted to put for the weapons in Battlefield 6, because they did a lot of different things like velocity or whatnot, and the bullets, right? And removing and putting down the headshot multiplier. So that means that let's say I am medium range from an LMG player that is long range. I burst fire to him. I tap him twice. We're both shooting at each other and spraying. I kill him, but since his LMG is better, he damaged me to about, let's say for an LMG is more powerful at those sort of ranges, and possibly in medium ranges depending on how they want to do it. I am low from 35 to 0 HP. Say if I damaged him and he killed me. Since I am at medium range from his perspective of the LMG, he will live from 50 HP to about 65 or 75 HP, depending on how many bullets I hit. Meaning that LMG player is able to either stay at that spot or move from that spot. And me, as if I lived, I will need to either move away from that spot quick, or I can stay at that spot with 25 HP depending on what. But since you can med kit, then you can med up. But that also gives a definite fair goal of how the gunplay should work. You should have a mercy rule, but since there's different scenarios of bullets, slugs, Tuscan core, penetrations, all those type of bullets, and headshot multiplier supposed to be at about 1.7, then yes, it is going to have a lot of mix up on what the math should be for the respective mercy rule. So let's say I have an LMG from close range to a SMG from close range. So in my stream, I did a lot of LMG play. If a SMG comes at me, since he is a definite respective category of an SMG player to push in short combat, let's say I kill him though, I am able to be at about 30 HP to 0 HP because of the high fire rate, and also how the SMG should play out. Let's say if he kills me and I damage him, he should be at about 50 or maybe 45 HP or possibly 35 HP and below. Why? Because I have an LMG, and you cannot get into the line of fire with an SMG even if I have an LMG. Meaning that the SMG player needs to have a strategic plan to be able to push an LMG player. Right? So I hope y'all understand that. The gunplay takes a lot of different, thoughts and preparations. And you can actually tell in Battlefield 6 that they are providing mercy rules, but it's not to the perfect choice that they should be, and it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel like, oh, I made a mistake. I think I should have died there. No, you die at a certain situation where you should, because it feels, of course, as we all know, that your calculations isn't going through, and it doesn't necessarily allow you to grasp for a certain amount that either he had mercy or you had mercy, right? So let's go to the movement. The movement wasn't necessarily that big of a difference from how 2042 or even Battlefield 6 now was, right? Battlefield 6 is going back to maybe the BF5 category, but it's still kind of stuck in the BF1 category of movement. So the movement was very aggressive in Battlefield 4. You could do a lot of jump peeking, you could do a lot of crouch jump peeking, you can do a lot of zuzuing, moo mooing. And what was the last one? Get kicked out the party. So you could do a lot of those in Battlefield. But again, Zuzu and Mumu wasn't supposed to be in the game. BF4 had movement where if you did it at the correct time and the correct position, which as the gunplay, like I just previously talked about, let's say I jump peeked with, let's say, an LMG or, the SMG, AR, sniper, God forbid you go into the middle of a zone with a sniper rifle aiming at you, then yes, those mercy rules should apply, depending on if you are able to get that kill captured. Yes, again, keep up with me, it sounds like a lot, but I'll get to it, where you'll understand the more you play and the more you see. If you made a fatal move like jumping and crouch peeking, then yes, you are dead in certain situations. But yes, you still can use that to your advantage, right? It's not a game-breaking thing because it's not necessarily something that you should do in those situations with a high TTK. It's something to catch your targets off guard, right? And if you are able to outplay and catch them off guard, then yes, you deserve that kill and you get the reward and the mercy feeling of like, whoa, I actually killed that dude and I am still living with about 25 HP. Do I want to keep it going and go further to get more kills with 25 HP or just rip med up, right? And yes, it do feel like, it feels like we're actually getting that in BF6. But if you actually pay attention to how definite gunfights work in Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 6, then you understand. So, classes. I'm not going to take too long about talking about the classes in Battlefield 6. Classes should be reverted back to its classical style. It should be the assault was actually the medic or the operator, also what it's called for in Hardline. It was the medic. The NG was the engineer. The support now in Battlefield 6 was ammo and medic. Should only be ammo, and the recon should be, the recon for sniper and spotting and doing everything they can to make the team playable for them, right? I don't see a good reason to have ammo and medic on one class to disregard one class, because it's not going to make the class or the map flow work well, because teams are only going to play one thing that is very OP, and you can't do that because we need another class, which is assault, to be able to get into certain points when time need be, which is another reason, according to the maps and everything I said in the beginning, why the maps feel like a win-loss for the press to start matchmaking in the game. You can't get definite wins in a row unless you're with a group that is about 10 KD, maximum for each player to equalize to about 40 KD, right? So, classes should be reverted back to the classical ways of Battlefield 3, 4, and Hardline. The vehicle play I cannot speak about though, because I wasn't necessarily a vehicle player in Battlefield 4, and I can't go back in time to play more Battlefield 4 and, be a competitive player in Battlefield 4 and be like, oh, vehicles, right? So, that is going to be the end for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, man, the definition of Battlefield 6, it really feels like, a far and wide journey. We have a lot to go. Like, yeah, the game makes you upset, makes me upset, but it's not over, right? It's not over. And there's still some lighthearted aspects of Battlefield 6 that can be implemented better, right? And we can appreciate that we honestly got this instead of more for 2042, right? Or even the BF1 type of gameplay style. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for this video. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. I will be streaming on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube, like how I usually do, and give y'all a lot of content for streaming, and you can join in, have fun, trash talk on the game only, because we are only a gaming channel and none other than that. So yeah, enjoy your day, and I am out.